So I want to share about my experience with dating and how talking to women and getting over that fear of the cold approach and how it actually did help me with my success and taking risk and doing business and how they're actually a little bit more connected than a lot of people realize. Dating and business is very similar, right? And in business, if you want to be successful, you have to go for it and take a risk, regardless of what the outcome might be, in hopes that you get a favorable result. And then once you get so good at this business, then success starts to find you and seek you out. Clients start to come and want to do business with you. And, they hear that you're so good at this, getting results for other people, right? And dating, it's not like, with women, it's not like you've been getting results with other women, so they want to talk to you, but it's rather that you start building yourself up as a man so much and start leveling up that the women start to seek you out as a partner, right? A romantic interest on socials, on platforms, through people that you know. And, at first, once you're so, once you're just starting with the dating market and stuff like that, you see a woman, you like her, she's attractive, you want to get her number, you approach her, right? And this is when I just said, like, once you build yourself up, you don't necessarily have to approach. Sometimes you still do. If it's a woman that's like a really high level, like she's not gonna approach you. But there's some nuances to it at the top of the game, but at the bottom of it, it's all the same. And so let's talk about some of the major lessons that dating and business taught me and how they're so similar. So the cold approach versus the entrepreneurial endeavors. So you have the cold approach. The cold approach is the start of the game, right? It's what a lot of guys want to master and what they want to get over the fear of doing. So when I first started the cold approach, I was a little hesitant at first because I'm like, what if she rejects me? Or what if I don't get the number? Or what if it doesn't go how I want to go and like I fold up? But who really cares, bro? It really doesn't make a difference if, the outcome. The most important thing is that you took the rep, is that you did it. That's the biggest lever of like growing yourself as a man and leveling up, is the fact that you actually took the risk and bet on yourself to go talk to her. And I know it's different. I know it's scary for you, but this already puts you 70% of the way there, for just to put an arbitrary number on it, because most guys aren't going to do this. They're scared anyways to even just go up to her and talk to her, right? Even if you don't do nothing but say, hey, I thought you were attractive. Like, do you have a number or something I could get? I want to stay in contact with you, right? And even if she says no, regardless, the fact was that you taught yourself how to do something that you're hesitant to do, and not listen to the voice in your head telling you that it might go wrong, and the doubt. And this is the same thing in business, as you got a lot of people telling you, well, it's like in dating, you don't have a lot of people telling you not to go up and talk to a girl, right? But in business, you might have doubt in your head and some people saying, you should just play it safe. What if it goes wrong? And so it's not just you talking yourself out of it, but it's people around you sometimes talking you out of it as well too. But you have to understand how to bet on your skills and bet on yourself, that if I do start this business, if I fail, well, I'm still in the same position I was before, and I still have these regular job opportunities. But if it goes right, if I do win, then I set myself up for a much better financial position than I had before. And honestly, the women thing was kind of even stronger for me, because I know a lot of guys, they put this part off until they do get money and they do get successful, and they spend all these years working on only business, and they don't know how the game goes and what pitfalls to look for with the dating and attraction side of it. And then they get used and they get manipulated just for their money and their income with these little dating games and tactics, which is not to say that you need tactics, but it helped me understand that side without as much money. And so now I can fully focus after knowing that that side is cool, like the approaching, the cold approach and the nightlife, but it's not nothing that's gonna come serious really from that. And it's like a skill that is just, in sleep, in hibernation mode, and it's always there, right? Because it is a skill. And another thing is that you stop being afraid of looking dumb, bro. Like you stop caring. A lot of the stuff that we do or don't do is because we're scared of how the women might judge us, or if we're not gonna get any hugs, or if people are gonna talk behind, like say, look, like he's failing, he's trying this thing, but he's not successful. Who cares, bro? Who cares? You're the one that actually took the risk. 99% of guys, let's say in the scene where everybody's walking around talking, they're gonna stand by and be the bystanders, the wallflowers, while you're going to make it happen, while you're doing what you do. They're gonna be talking from the sidelines, right? And when you go out and you're talking to girls, you and your homeboys, y'all are running it up, right? Getting numbers. It's the same way in business. People are going to stand there talking from the sidelines about what you could have done better, And it doesn't even have to be this way. I'm just trying to help you paint the picture of what it could look like. As far as how the taking the risk are very similar. Now, lesson number 2 is becoming attractive is only a boost, but it means nothing if you don't build. A lot of guys don't understand this, bro. Like, they think that, and I got another video on this too, coming up about how being attractive is not the end all be all, but a lot of guys think that life starts and ends with attraction, right? Or being attractive. But the thing is, it opens the door, especially in the dating and women perspective of how, if you're attractive, women then expect a lot more out of you, right? And if you don't have the personality, if you don't have the composure, if your character is not congruent with how you look, it puts you in a different spotlight of expectations, because now it's more expected out of you because you look better and you have what is seemingly like more value and more together just from face value, because they don't know you, right? What else do they have to judge on? And if you don't meet those standards off rip, then it's just disappointing. But I will say it opens the door. It gives you more of time to have the opportunity for her to want to talk to you or to get her number, right? But in business, this was like being skilled and being intelligent and, having the capability of being successful in business. But if you never take that risk, if you never apply it, if you always sit in analysis paralysis thinking about what if I go this way or what if I go that way, and you just sit on this latent potential, it doesn't mean anything. It's not really valuable because you're not using it, okay? So all of these things and skills and potential and attractiveness, it's all like good to have as some traits, but if you never use them, they're just as wasteful and they're just as pointless as if you don't even have them. So as a man, if you're attractive, you still have to build. You can't skate by on your looks. And like I said, I got another video coming up on this. And as a man in business, if you can't rely on just other people to put you on, you have to use your skills. You have to use your talents. And it's not like school, like where you just not study and pass the test. No, you have to put in work. Like everybody is on the same playing field, and you might have boosts and you might have different things that make it a little bit easier, but you still have to put in the work day in and day out to not only get it started, but keep it sustainable. Now, lesson number 3 is playing it safe versus taking risks, right? So playing it safe in the dating market is like using dating apps. A lot of guys are scared to go out and meet girls organically and talk to them in real life, and they just rely on the dating apps. But playing it safe gets you lower risk, but it's a lower reward as well, right? You get sometimes people that are not as quality or that have different things that you can't really vet out, and you would see them in a real life and you would kind of get a feel for how they actually are. But since you're on the dating app, then it's different traits and stuff that you don't understand. And it's honestly a lot of negative quality. It's a lot of people that aren't high quality on these apps, right? And if you go out in real life, man, a lot of these women are in the same environments that they're in real life, basically. You'll meet her in the grocery store. You'll meet her at this event, that event, but you have to step outside your door, man. And if you stay playing it safe, you're just a swipe, bro. You're just one of these numbers. You're just one of these people on these apps. And if you build yourself up, yeah, you could still win, but you'll have so much more character development from going out in real life and talking in real life. And it's the same way in business. Like, well, honestly, in business, playing it safe is not starting a business. Playing it safe is not starting a safe business, because I would say it's not necessarily any business that's completely safe. It's some that are more safer than others. But honestly, playing it safe in the business world would just be having a regular job. But as far as a business, like any so-called low risk, low reward business, is still going to put you in a better financial position than just having a regular job. As long as the more work you put in, the more income you can get out of it. And there's no cap ceiling. Now, this looks like, I would say, the most playing it safe esque type business endeavors would be like a trade, or like a highly commoditized business like landscaping, like mowing the lawn, or how, like what I'm doing right now is barbering, because it's a million people that do it, just like it's a million people on dating apps. But it's not that as much competition as you think, because even though it's so much people, it's not a lot of people that are actually stand out and are actually going to try. So if you put in a little more work than everybody else, it's not hard to stand out, bro. And this is the same way that dating is, and as business is, right? They relate in these same things, right? And so this leads me to one of my next points before I get into the big divide, right? Into where business and dating start to kind of like drift apart a little bit, and it's just basically something that is a gap that most people wouldn't expect, right? But I'm gonna talk about this next point, which is, it takes effort, but it's not as hard as it seems to be at the top of the food chain in the dating market, right? And so the thing is, right, it takes effort, and it seems like I would never be able to do this. I would never be able to get the woman that I want to attract, or the quality of women that I like. But bro, once you get rolling, you realize it's not impossible. Like, you get into the gym, you stay disciplined, you stop focusing, obsessing, and putting this women on a pedestal, bro. And stop listening to the Hollywood movies about glass slippers and princess and all this. And it's not just because you're not putting a woman on a pedestal that you're trying to put her like underneath you. It's just even playing field, bro. We're all human beings. You feel me? At the end of the day. So as long as you focus on building yourself up and stop obsessing over this side. See, business is a little different, because it's a little different, but you have to kind of be obsessive about leveling yourself up. And it's like the right obsession. Obsession is good in the right areas, right? As long as you obsess about the inputs and what you can control, and kind of like giving that what you have, like all that you have, then you'll be at the top of the food chain. As far as you obsess about leveling up your skills and leveling up your knowledge about how to be successful in your domain, you can win, right? It takes effort. Like, you have to go out in the dating market, talk to women in real life, talk to them organically, go build muscle in the gym, go get you some money, get you a good job, get you a good quality of life, and you will stand out, bro. Like, it's not that hard, bro. It's not that hard, but you just keep thinking about it and imagining it, and without actually taking action. The moment you start taking more action than doing more thinking is the moment you start getting on the path to winning and dominating. And here's the big divide that most guys don't realize. They don't realize that you don't need to be rich with dating with women. You just need to have your priorities handled. It's not about necessarily having the most money, right? As long as you're a decent looking guy and you have some personality and character about yourself, then it's not going to be hard for you to stand out and for you to be successful in this dating market, bro. but it's the fact that a lot of guys are drained, they're lust filled, they lack discipline, and they just have no life about them. They have no hobbies, no skills. They come home and they just play games, bro. They just play video games and they waste time until the next day and they live for the weekend and they just drink it all away. They don't take care of their body. They don't take care of their health. But this is not how you're going to win, bro. And women just want to see, honestly, even potential, bro. We all date off of potential, bro. They just want to see that you're trying. You don't have to have it all together, right? You can build it because you're not expected to be established in all this mega mansion and like business mind at 20 years old, bro, 25 years old, right? And so all this six figure, all this stuff, as long as you get a good way, as long as you know how to choose a good woman and you know what to look for and what not to look for, you're going to be fine as far as this is concerned. Now, for yourself, this is not, you shouldn't settle, bro. You shouldn't take this information and say, okay, I don't have to be rich. I just have to show potential. I just have to have my stuff together. As a man, you should want to strive as much as possible because I've heard from guys a lot smarter than me that it's going to take more money than you realize to take care of the family. And the more kids you start having and the more stuff you guys want, the more money that you're going to need. And in today's society, if you want to not have to struggle, then it's in your best interest to put forth as much effort into building the foundation financially for your family so you guys can be set and well off. Because once you start building that family or once you get older, you're going to have less leverage and you're going to be able to take less risk because now you got all these dependents on you and you can't pivot as much as you used to be able to. You're not as flexible. You have to have more stability, more foundation for this family. So you should be taking all these risks. You should be failing fast now so that way you can level up. And here's the thing that blindsided me about leveling up, man. The thing was, once you level up, bro, you have a different level of access. Like I said, women start seeking you out and it just becomes like dating on easy mode. And you have all these options, right? Perceived options. But the true qualified options are very slim, right? So the thing is like, as I started leveling up, my standards became higher and higher and higher. I started getting a better body. I started making more money. I started looking better, feeling better. My routine was locked in. And so now I expect all of these things out of myself. And so now I expect, and I don't expect a woman to be as like, I don't even expect most men to be as locked in and as focused as I am, right? Let alone my partner, my woman that is supposed to be living a soft life, right? But your standards, your what you expect go way higher. And it's so many people that fall under this standard, that fall short of the bar because it's a lot to demand, right? And so while you have more options, you also have very, very slim qualified options, right? And it goes down to who actually meet your standards. And so now you have to learn how to play the patience game and to play the endurance game if you want like a true partner that's going to be qualified for you. And you have to be ruthless about cutting off distractions because I know for me, when I started entertaining a woman that I feel like wasn't really who I wanted, like as far as like my standard and kind of like wasn't really aligned with where I felt like I needed for where I was going. Only thing that it did was distract me off of my purpose and it doesn't push me forward because I already know like this isn't going to work, right? And so you have to be ruthless about cutting this off and get back to work, get back to focus and understand that although you might not be finding it right now, just how you're waiting and looking for her, she's looking for you. So what you have to do is you have to keep building. And I know it sounds like, and you can take it or leave it, bro. And I know it sounds like, so I'm just supposed to keep building in hopes of one day I might find this one woman that might meet my standard. But I feel like truly it's somebody out there, right? As long as you're patient, as long as you are putting in the work. And this is where faith comes in and you can believe it or not believe it, but You have to understand that if you live life according to how God intended for us to live, anytime I play by the rules of the game, anytime I play by how this God that we see in scripture and in the Bible, how he intended for us to live, I can't lie, my life gets better. So it leads me to believe that if I follow the instructions and I do what the creator of the game, if I play how the creator of the game intended me to play, how can I lose the game? So that means if I wait for a partner, and before a man even got a woman, he was given a mission. And I'm not gonna pretend like I know everything about scripture when I quote this on these videos, but I will say, like, I take value from it, right? But before a man ever got anything else, he had a mission. And then once he was working in his mission and his purpose, then God made him a helper. And so you won't be alone forever, but you got to understand to trust the process, bro, and trust that it's going to be somebody aligned for you. But you won't ever get there if you can't put in the work, right? And do it. And just how there is a lot of level and uncertainty in business and in dating and in faith, this is just it, bro. If you don't want to cash in, if you want to go big levels and big heights, you have to put faith in. You have to be uncertain. At the highest levels, bro, you have more faith than you have certainty. And this is the highest levels in spiritual, in religion. Well, I would say, let's not even get into the whole religion thing, right? But at the highest levels, you have faith more than you have certainty. This is when you can see something before it's there, right? You build a big company or you build a big business and you have the vision to see it before you have actually built it. And you're taking these steps towards something that you don't even know if it's actually going to happen or if it's going to work out, but you can see it in your mind's eye, right? And you trust it. And I will say this, man, despite all of these things that I've told you about how even though you have more options than the ones that you actually do get that are qualified are slim to none, or how, you know, it's tough to stand out, or how becoming attractive is nothing, and as a man you can't skate by on that unless you build stuff. All of this that I've just said, it sounds cool, but the main objective and the main lesson that you should be taking away is that as long as you focus on building yourself up and leveling up as a man, you can never lose, bro. Because at the very least, if you don't get the woman that you want, right? Well, as soon as you want, you're still a powerful, disciplined, and free man that has conquered himself. And you still have built a life that you enjoy. And you have your family, assuming you have family, right? If not, you can always build family and build a tribe of like-minded brothers and a community, right? If you don't have it, you can build it. And if you do meet a woman that you like, then you bring yourself as a whole and you bring strength and she brings herself and you guys just build together. You're not looking for her to complete you. So either way, it's a win-win. And this is it, man. I'll be going more in depth for this type of topic on merging this thing that guys want, which is this dating world and this women. And I know a lot of guys don't want to leave this on the table just to chase business success, because if you build this really successful life in terms of what society deems as successful or just based on numbers, but you have nobody to experience it with, it's pointless. But I feel like it's a way where it can be a middle ground and a point to look at all this from a different point of view and a point of lens. And I want to just help guys kind of get some clarity on everything as somebody who's done the whole like chasing girls and nightlife and women and stuff like that. Even though it's nothing that really comes out of it, I did learn some valuable lessons from that phase in my life. And now I'm focused on just building myself up. And what gives me pleasure is day in, day out, staying on the routine, staying on the grind, waking up early, working out hard. And if you want to hear more about this topic, man, stick around for more videos on the channel. I will see you guys in the future, and let's get it.